enough chatter from the desk. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get into our round number 12. Just 3 games remaining today. Gentlemen, take it away.
Round 12 of the ESL Katowice Royale is live, and we're riding on with Saf and Zayt, and oh boy, if other people are dropping on them, this is going to be the closest thing we've seen to a pub game start with everybody in Tilted Towers. But for now, they're drifting up. We've seen them drop so many times around Loot Lake, so nothing too different on this start for them.
Still contested here though, over at Viking. We do still have Sexorb and Vinny, not changing it up. They worked out for them last game.
Actually picking up a big elimination for themselves. This is what we're talking about. A few elims can change the complexion of the scoreboard as we go into the last couple of rounds, as Maki takes a lot of damage from Jules and Mies as they're going to build down, try and trade some of this back, but that's Jules getting dropped as Ryux was able to put him down, and as he goes into the box, who's going to come out ahead? It's Mies is going to drop Ryux. There's dynamite ticking somewhere.
Just going down too quick, just taking that elimination for granted. Not something you want to do. Stick with your teammate, push up together, and secure the elimination.
Jules goes down from that dynamite. Second elimination from Ryux as he drops down to try and convert the duo for that third of the game, and he's going to play this slower, going to try and just own this entire area, almost boxing Mies in like a rat trap here at this point. But look, Mies has found his way out of the trap and is trying to turn it back around from himself. Klingers has another one, trying to disrupt this, does tag the shields, and look at how low Maki is. Maki thought he maybe had Mies completely trapped, but it's gone the other way.
Because I like how Marky just rotated around that area and picked up all of the loot as it did, but he did end up losing high ground over it and trying to make his way out. I'm not sure if he's want to engage or yeah, he does want to engage, and he reclaims high ground.
He's got that compact SMG here as well if he wants to shred through. Wood does get damage off at first, and now the hunt is on for Maki as he tries to go. 2 big things popping up in the action feed as Zexro has eliminated FaxFox. That was the fight over at Viking that we were tracking earlier on, but that fight will persist for a long time as they've actually dropped all the way away from Viking on this exchange, but they're still in the safe zone because it's focused.
Stadium, Kuna is alone. We know his teammate Mitra.
Whoa! Mies taken out as Maki secures the third elimination for the duo.
You know, if you're scared, you're not going to get anywhere. 7 SSK and Jamside in a little bit of a skirmish here versus Ares.
And we didn't see 7 SSK, 7 and Jamside in the last game, I feel, but they have been doing exceptionally well over the last few, rounds. Yesterday specifically, like 7 SSK, 7 had the eliminations racked up. It's only today that we've really seen the big numbers they put up. I think they had 9 in one game. That got obliterated in the last 2 games where Camo and Zayt and Saf both put up massive numbers for themselves. And
very consistent indeed. But let's see if they can make their way out of Salt here. Oh, goes down by Jamside.
Yeah, Jamside's going to try and convert this into elimination, but he's got to be careful because he's a little bit in a treacherous position as well, as Ares is trying his best to pick off anyone that he can, but runs right into that shotgun, and Ares is out of round 12. Yeah, the Vultures circling to try and pick off anything that they can from the scraps, and that's history. Getting knocked down, they've bitten off a little bit more than they could chew as far. Now has to 1v2. It's Jamside and 7 SSK7 trying to convert this, and Bizzle and Demo in the action feed have dropped as well. Another one of our league leaders that we've been looking at all the way through. You just saw it in the top of your screen confirming that elimination. As far is trying to bring history back into the game, but look at 7 SSK7. He's knocking on that door, trying to find anything that he can. This is a long red. Storm Surge does become active, but 7 SSK7 hasn't been able to convert it as far. Actually eliminates him from the game. Mistiming out of the Russian and Belarusian duo.
And I mean, Jamside's still...
he got it anyway, right?
Yeah. And Jamside's still alive here, but I did see Lolito and Exisma just hanging out right outside Salty, making their way into the zone slowly, and will probably guard the edge of the zone. So that may prove troublesome for Jamside in the near future here.
Going to be a tricky fight to make his way through. Beehive and Coffee trying to close in on our current points leaders of Saf and Zayt, but they're going to be able to launch pad away. But do they take any damage in the air?
You raise the threshold. Oh, look at this. Coffee is already down. And Beehive is making his way out.
Easy elimination at the end of it for Saf as Beehive had backed himself away. So Saf and Zayt on the board for round 12. And we'll see whether they can get
the favorite of a lot of players. Heading into a replay here, Stress.
Oh, and this is Zexro and Vinny. This fight we were talking about, how important that was. Aim Hero ended up falling, and then Zexro from the high ground was able, by the looks of it, to pick up the pieces. Faxbox, there is no running away from Zexro when he has you in his sights. Looks like he was able to convert that, as this was Jam Side and 7SSK7 nearly ending up on the bad side of an exchange. Nikov and Airwax out.
Storm Surge is active, but a lot of players have dropped already. There's only 56 players alive, and we're heading into the 5th circle, which is a bit lower than we're used to. We see Jordan in 72 hours going down there in the action feed, and Lolito as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned how many fewer players there are. This is what we were talking about with the fact that this has been an aggressive game. This is just insane action all the time. Everybody's peeking out of windows, trying to find anybody they can. And as I said at the beginning of this game, every single person, whether you're at the top of the leaderboard or at the bottom of the leaderboard, you are worth 5 points when you get eliminated. And that is why people are starting to go so aggressive.
That's right, we do hear a nade launcher popping off there somewhere. And as you saw on the map in the bottom right corner, look at this, the mountain goating here by the edge of Polar Peak. This is bound to get real interesting real fast. And Trip and Boy are doing really good this game as well. As a nade launcher and just firing it down on whatever team was down there, just camping it off.
Oh, I wonder whether we're going to get to that mountain climb, as people are going to have to build up, utilize the vertical game as well up the side. The terrain, this is one of these moments where it actually has that impact, and you can see some of the players that get left behind and straggle down at the bottom will get caught, and they will end up falling to the zone, because you have to beat the zone up that mountain. Otherwise, it is incredibly difficult. You basically have to choose to fight if you get caught in the back.
Yeah, that's true. We do see Poach and Vivi going down in the action feed by Trippa and as well Eric. Just a beautiful spot here by Trippa and Boyer. They can just see everything from here. Ooh, beautiful hits. Kites are almost down. Very, very low. Trippa and Boyer currently ranked number 3.
Look at this position.
Another elimination. Now they're up to 3.
That position just peeking out through the floor and just getting this beautiful angle. That's what we were talking about. They made it up on the high ground early, and that means everybody has to come towards them, and there's so many exposed angles, so many people. Zexro did just fall, as I think that was Airwax and Nikov were able to get an elimination there. Animal and Aspect are still up in this game as well. Another duo that is hovering just outside of the top, I believe, trying to make their way into the leader position. Vinny on his own for the rest of this game now, and he's got to try and recoup that 90 points that they had coming into today and ended up losing because of the way they got challenged very hard at Viking.
But they are within the points. There's 23 teams left, so at this point, if you're solo, just stay along for as long as possible, get those 3 points, and yeah, you might be able to rack up some points. And the circle, we just saw in the bottom right corner again here that the circle's moving up far north by the edge of the mountain once again.
How tricky is this zone? Looking at it, it looks like it runs right along the outside of the mountain.
So it's going to touch, it's going to go through the mountain, right? It's not going to go around. So all these players on low ground are going to have a real issue getting up unless they have a rift to go.
We know there are a few on the field and there are a few launch pads that are already down, so there will be a little bit of assistance. You can see people starting to fly up and make their way around, but it certainly is a whole lot trickier. There we go. The mountain edge cuts directly through the safe zone, so we basically are split on 2 levels completely here in the game, and the subsequent circles are going to determine it, and the RPGs from the high ground are going to do it as well, because it is so difficult to build up, and you can see that come into effect by how many eliminations just racked up. We lost Smeef, we lost Vinny. Vinny has dropped in this game, and who is still there? Sinnoh and Envy with the absolute high ground now at the top. Zayt and Saf up there as well. Boyer, Cripper still alive. Margins down at the bottom. There's a few other duos left in this, but this is a very tricky situation to be in.
The zone's going back. It's going back up on the mountain, so whoever's on top right now will have a clear advantage.
Yes, and as you said, it is back directly over the mountain, so now has to be the rift to goes, and we've seen them already. So for Saf and Zayt, they are okay. They're in a fine situation. They don't have that ultimate high ground, but they may be able to retake it from Sinnoh and Envy, who dropped down. I wonder whether they don't have the materials to build over the top.
We saw Boyer going down there as well. Probably some Vind is down. Violin trying to clutch it out, but they are at the bottom of the mountain. There's no real way to get out of there unless you have a rift, like we mentioned.
Zayt and Saf are going to take this fight against Envy. And Sinnoh right at the top. It's Aspect. They're trading as much as they can. It's Aspect comes in on the side. Sinnoh up to 3 eliminations for himself. This is such a compact fight at this point. So many people have been dropped down at the bottom, including Nikov. I'm looking to see whether Airwax is still alive, his duo.
And Satan Sap, they have high ground once again. Just look at their inventory. It's looking really good for them. And Krippa going down eventually.
There's that high ground. It was Saf that picked up that elimination, and they are doing an incredible job. They are the only team so far to pick up 2 victory royales, and they could very well be closing in on another. X8 drops in on them, but does he drop? He gets knocked down. X8 doesn't convert it. Now they are just guarding this high ground.
You can't challenge the kings of high ground without getting punished. And look at that. They're just holding it. They have 6 eliminations, and they're going for more. They're up to 7.
And they still have the high ground despite dropping, because they're going to try and use this RPG to pick off as many as they can. Sate, I believe, did get the elimination credit for that. He did, as that was Razaru. And Sate and Saf are having the games of their lives as they are up to 8 eliminations. They are 90 points clear already on the field, and this is a fantastic performance.
This is just insane to me. I do not believe, I do not know how this is possible at
Saf
this point.
just got Stompy as well. There's only 5 players left. 4 duos. It's them against the world as Vato is desperately trying to stay in this. Shinken is on the edge of the storm, and Zayt and Saf, they've played the late game so fantastically. They've used the Rift to go to keep themselves alive, and they have the high ground. This is beautiful. They're letting Shinken and Stompy fight against each other for safety as this zone transfers across. They're dying to the storm. There's almost no real way for them to get through in time.
They can just stay on top and just wait this out. Just look at that. Shinken just fighting there, trying to hold on for his dear life.
They're trying to shoot it down to 1 as it's only Shinken that survives. Satan Saf are trying to convert, and they do!
Unbelievable!
3 victory royales for Satan!
We still have 2 games left today. Even with this incredible points lead that they have, currently sat on 711 points, if they do not make it to the end game, if they fall out for whatever reason of those placement points, this is still a competition that they could lose.
Absolutely, and this is where, as they were expecting, or as they said, they now have to expect people to drop on them. And I wonder whether Krippa and Boya look at that and say, okay, maybe it's us that has to go. Zexro and Finny, maybe they say, okay, maybe it's us that has to challenge them, because if they're left alone to even get points at this point, it's very difficult to chase them.
And that's the point, is that it's not just a case of taking them out of the game at some point. You have to take them out early, because it's not just placements. You can't let them get those eliminations either.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to drop them too early in the game.